Hello, welcome to the Medium Games Tournament Final against Neqativ. King's Court is so good they put it on a line all by itself. Like, this is the best card, you should buy this one. Then there's some other cards in row 2, row 3. Way of the Otter is, we think, the cutest way to play, so that's good. So you want to get lots of action cards and try to get to King's Courts. There's not really a way to trash, which is problematic here. I'm trying to come up with a reason not to open Young Witch and Prove. It all just seems really good to do that. Like, Patron is nice, you start building up coffers. Notably, there's not a 6-cost action, so you can't improve all the way into King's Court. But it seems like Young Witch, the curses are just too good. You get Young Witch improve, and hopefully work out there. We also have Wishes because of Leprechaun. I think you can get to six actions and play the Leprechaun reliably. But it's complicated with King's Court and Barge. So we go Young Witch improve. Not going to play this now for +2 cards. If I had it in the first hand, I would consider having played it. Like, if I had 4 coppers in this, I would consider playing it so I could get an early Barge, which seems like a good card. But I think Improve is also, I think Young Witch Improve is also a good line. Probably you're going to have some amount of terminal collision, and you're just going to have to live with that on this kind of board. If you can get King's Courts coming in play on turns when you have Barge, if you can get Barges coming into play, you get lots of draw. You can get King's Courts, you can just draw a ton of cards really nicely. So this is pretty sweet. I can already do some improved stuff. Probably I will improve the Young Witch into Barge and buy another Young Witch. Let's see what I draw here. My next hand is going to be pretty sad. I've got their improve. Next hand is going to be pretty sad. I'm going to have 3 money and 2 shelters. So I'll probably get my improve back next turn. What does that mean for this turn? I do want to get the Barge stuff going in, but I am somewhat action limited. So I consider going like Patron, second Young Witch, find improve next turn. Be quite a bit over terminaled. But I'm not saying like significantly better lines than that. I could improve the Young Witch into Barge, buy a Young Witch next turn, get improve. I still have 3 terminals. So the choices here basically are improve or Young Witch or Patron. Fair seems too early, and you get plus buys from Barges later on. I want to get the Barge stuff working, so I'm going to go Young Witch Barge, I guess, or Patron Barge. And I don't have a Young Witch in my deck for the next turn. I think I'm okay with that. I'll try to add it back in later. The Patron is nice because, especially if I can get some cases where I King's Court it or end the turn with Villagers, then I can start my next turns more nicely. But we'll see. This is really tough. If there was like the card any village kind of here, this really explodes quite a bit. And if there wasn't a cursor, you can also play it very, very aggressively with Patrons and Improves and Barges to get it to King's Court. But if you get even 3 or 4 curses into your deck, it's just really hard to get stuff going. Yeah, they got a Barge and a Patron. Okay. So notably, they're not protected. I'm going to turn on the autoplay for now. There's maybe a case when the pile's down to 3 or 2 curses where I want to take the curse in order to pile out, but that's so far away that I don't really see it. Okay, so next turn I have 4 coppers, Necropolis, Hovel, Patron, Barge, Improve. So hopefully draw the Necropolis. And with that, so I consider, like, do I want to get a werewolf here? Do I want to get a young witch back? Do I just want to get another patron and start building up my coffer, my villagers? And how do I get to 7 to play the King's Court? I think being able to start the turn with +3 cards with Barge, and then, you know, Patron improves, probably good enough to get there. So I guess I'm going to get another Barge and realize that I'm quite over-terminaled. This Improve, I also think, can become a young witch now. So I have next turn. I have a patron. I have this is really nice. I get to block again. I have a patron and a Necropolis next turn, so I should get to build up a villager. I think I'm going to next turn this Barge and just pass turn. I only have 1 copper left down there, 1 or 2 coppers left down there, so I'm not going to be able to buy a 5 cost if I play the Barge this turn anyways. They get the Leprechaun. That feels early to me, but we shall see. So hopefully I get to do the nice thing here, which is end the turn with a villager, which I do. Interesting. So I can try to figure out a way if I can use Otter. I can't. I can, but I want them. I think I'd just rather take this by the King's Court. I feel pretty happy about that draw. Now that I've ended the turn with a villager here, I can play this Barge this turn and see what happens. Play it now. So they played an Improve on turn 7. They didn't play one on turn 6. I think this Young Witch attack gets through. I'm really unhappy if I draw my King's Court. I'm somewhat unhappy if I draw my Barge. Yeah. I think that was worth it for the curse and the fact that it's somewhat unlikely that it hurts me as much as it did there. That's a potentially pretty bad boon. Well, no, it's Envious is not that bad here. So I can play the Patron. Yeah, I'm just going to play the Patron and buy a another Barge. So if you play King's Court on Barge this turn, the King's Court stays out of the shuffle, which is not great. But I don't see a lot. I'm probably going to play King's Court and Barge this turn 3 times. So my King's Court gets shuffled back in. I could also consider, well, we'll get there when we get there. So I've gotten a curse now. They've got a pretty nice turn with the Barge coming in, and they're able to get a King's Court. Okay. So I'm going to play King's Court Barge, play the first one this turn, almost certainly play the second one this turn, and then I can pause and decide if I want to play the third turn this turn. No reason to make that decision until I have full information. I'd like to at some point, do King's Court on Patron to build up the now. So I'm just going to play this now. So I can't play the Patron here. I do have enough for King's Court. I'd like to play King's Court on Patron at some point to build up the villagers, but also I consider getting like a Harbinger or Market Square or something to King's Court for plus actions so I can build them up during the turn. And play that as next turn. And then obviously if you play King's Court on King's Court, you're quite happy with yourself, because then you can draw 3 times with Barge, gain 3 villagers and 6 money with Patron, and buy just a ton of stuff. Yeah, so this is actually perfect. So I'm going to play this 3 times. Play. And I'm going to otter this 3 times. I'm actually going to play that the 3rd time as actual Necropolis. Otter at the 3rd time. I will play this once just to see if it gets through. It did. This turn. Do I want to play the improve? What would I improve? I could improve the Young Witch into another Barge. I don't think I need to yet. I'm going to end actions here and just buy 2 King's Courts. Something nice about what you just saw with the Otter stuff is I do have a Barge coming in, which is good with the Otter stuff is I can play King's Court, and then play Necropolis, for example, to get +6 cards. So if I at some point have a card I don't want to play, or I can King's Court the Young Witch. If they don't block, then I can. If they don't block, then I can play it 2 more times. If they do block, I can just play it as a... Okay, so I'm going to play the King's Court 3 times, play the Patron 3 times, play the Young Witch once, see if they block. They didn't, so I can play it twice more. Give them 3 curses. Play as So the Otter once, and then just play it twice. Play this as the next turn 3 times. So I start with that on my mat. And here I will buy 3 King's Courts and an improve. And hope to pile provinces next turn. I don't want to trash anything yet. So with improve, I can improve King's Court into provinces. So if I have 6 King's Courts in play, I can buy 6 provinces. I can... And I'm just going to click on all the things. Click play every time. Yeah, so this spiraled out of control, and I had some nice draws. I'm just going to click Otter until it lets me stop clicking. End actions. Buy 3 provinces. And buys. Improve King's Court. Improve King's Court. Improve King's Court. Yeah, so I had some really nice draws here. And I was able to line up the King's Courts and empty out the provinces on turn 13, as it were. So some of that was draw luck. Some of that I think I took some good lines. I'm not sure I liked our Leprechaun, but I got to King's Court first and was able to king stuff and just get the train rolling. So good first game. We'll see you in game 2.